Stream updates for YouTube. We are live. Awesome. Just want to make sure we are popping up the right way. Perfect. We're gonna go full screen. And welcome back to another installment of the 94 podcast. How are you doing, Jim? How's it going?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for asking. Um, the backup plan. That's what we got going on for this weekend. The backup plan. Minnesota Vikings going into a week 3 second game home. They're going to be taking on the Cincinnati Bengals, who will be marching into US Bank Stadium with a record of 2-0, but no Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was lost for looks like 3 months or more. So he's out indefinitely until he recovers from a turf toe. I know it sounds like a harmless injury, but yeah, it is a serious injury to the point where you can't put any weight on that foot. That toe is completely just damaged. And he got roughed up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But Jake Browning, he stepped in relief and was able to secure the second win, keeping the Bengals undefeated and getting them off to a hot start at 2-0 in the AFC North. They will be visiting the Minnesota Vikings, who stand at 1-1 after getting demolished by the Atlanta Falcons. And JJ McCarthy was handed his first loss and first injury in an official manner. I know he was injured in the preseason, but this is regular season where the games count. And JJ McCarthy did, finish the game, unlike Joe Burrow, where he was carted off. Joe Burrow obviously will be missed by the Cincinnati Bengals, but they are 2-0. The Vikings in more of a desperation mode where, you got to get this win. I feel like, especially without a Joe Burrow, this is more of like you got to have it. Uh, at 1-1, uh, Vikings just got completely destroyed by the Atlanta Falcons front four. They were able to get that pressure, and just an awful game by the offensive line and also defense. Just Ivan Pace probably had one of his worst games as a professional. Um, but again, uh, you lose as a team, you win as a team. So don't want to get too negative, but just realizing like there's a lot of things that the Vikings can definitely work on, especially if they want to be taken seriously as a team that's going to be competing in the playoffs or competing for a divisional crown or making it to an NFC championship level of a competition. So as we see, Carson Wentz has won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles, won Super Bowl 52 with the Philadelphia Eagles. Most recently was in the Super Bowl 59 with Kansas City Chiefs. He's been on 6 different teams in 6 consecutive starts. So he will be making a start with his sixth team come Sunday. Um, overall, overall, it's just a lot of things going on for the Vikings right now. Aaron Jones is also going to be on the IR, and Jordan Mason's going to be filling in for him. You also got Xavier Scott and Cam Akers also got re-signed by the Minnesota Vikings. That'll be his third stint. That'll be his third stint with the Minnesota Vikings. We'll see how the Vikings look with this new look offense, with Carson Wentz leading the charge of this Kevin O'Connell offense. And Kevin O'Connell has been vocal in regards to he's had conversations with Sean McVay. He's had conversations with Andy Reid on what Carson Wentz is able to do out on the football field, and that shows you the confidence that Kevin O'Connell has, knowing that both Andy Reid and Sean McVay trusted Carson Wentz to run their offense, and knowing that he did come from Philadelphia with Doug Peterson, but then he did bounce around for a little while. He was with the Commanders, went to Indianapolis, Chiefs, Rams, now the Vikings. Um, what do you expect? I mean, you got Jake Browning, who was a former Viking, and a few years ago, I think it was back at like 2022, I think the end of 22 or 23. I know it was like 2 years ago, where he beat the Vikings in a situation where it was Nick Mullins versus Jake Browning. So again, I feel like Jake Browning is always destined to play against the Vikings. Whenever the schedule is like comes out, it's like, all right, Bengals. And I was thinking, oh, cool, like we get to see Joe Burrow, and no Joe Burrow. We get to see Jake Browning, so the former Viking, with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson being lined up, and this will be, I guess, in that debate where a lot of people are saying who's better, Jefferson or Chase. Now there's no quarterbacks. Like, oh, you got an elite quarterback, you got a rookie quarterback. Now we get to see who is going to be the wide receiver that makes the biggest impact on Sunday. Um, that'll be a fun matchup to kind of see how the Viking secondary handles Chase, and the same thing on the flip side, how the Bengal secondary is going to be able to contain Justin Jefferson. This will be the final game for Jordan Addison on his suspension, so he will be back for Week 4 when we go overseas. But again, let's focus on week 3 right now before we go across the pond and start the Euro series for the Minnesota Vikings. Let's talk about this game. What do you expect to see out of the Minnesota Vikings going into week 3 with a must-win game?
That was always a nothing game. I'm expecting to the offensive line to help protect the first one. He's starting.
Yes,
Yeah, that decent stuff there. I think that was very good. We are off to the line at third with JJ in the last game. Checks him out, but it'll be a fun one. Hopefully they're able to actually stand up and have to make a block or two and not the fourth wins the roll out of pocket, make them wrong. Make sure people have time to take the exit. And last game we'll add, yeah, maybe count. We need the last time we play receivers out of the championship. That's a good stance to I don't be the number 3 guy. So we down for number 2. So who knows?
absolutely. Yeah, we get to see Ryan Flores, how he's going to get ready for a backup quarterback. I mean, obviously, you got a bunch of film on Joe Burrow, and you're expecting going into, obviously the late part of uh, week 2, you have that Sunday night game against the Falcons. You lose 22-6. Again, it's been a theme right now in regards to like you're playing against a lot of former Vikings. Um, was it Parker Romo? Like he kicked like what 4 field goals, knocked the Vikings out last week.
Yeah.
And you got to get that bad taste out of your mouth. And I feel like with what Kevin O'Connell needs to do in regards to getting Carson Wentz that confidence right away is just simplifying it. I feel like that's going to be a big thing to watch for in this game is how is Carson Wentz able to command the offense and also like the communication breakdowns, being able to use those timeouts whenever things are not clicking, or if you feel like at any point like the playbook is not making sense, just simplifying it. I feel like with Kevin O'Connell, there's so many nuances, details, and minutiae things that are going on in regards to he comes from the coaching tree of Sean McVay, and that stems down from uh the Shanahan coaching tree, the Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan, they were all together in Washington, and obviously in Green Bay, Matt LaFleur coming from that same coaching tree, and you see the Packers at 2-0. They will be playing the Cleveland Browns this week. More likely, Packers are going to walk out of that game 3-0 unless an upset
Yeah.
does happen.
Yeah.
Right. Right. They'll be playing at Cleveland, correct? That's not at Lambeau, but it will be a road game for the Packers. I expect Micah Parsons and Miles Garrett to put on a show of defensive brilliance. So I expect that to be like a close game. It might be like 17-10 Packers. I feel like it's going to be a tighter game than most people expect. But Kevin Stefanski has had his battles with the Packers, so expect him to get a running game going. We'll see how the Browns are able to do in that matchup. And the rest of the NFC North, the Bears are still, trying to find answers. They lose by 31 points to the Lions just looked awful. They take on the Cowboys. They take on America's team this week. So that'll be a game where I feel like the teams are just trying to figure out their identity. But Dak Prescott was able to rally the Cowboys after giving up a late lead to the Giants, and Brandon Aubrey was able to, with his uh, basically he kicked them into their first victory in regards to hitting the game tire right before the end of regulation, and then in overtime to put the game away. Where Dak Prescott looked, you know, for 50, what he had like 52 dropbacks. He was actually effective though. We got to give Dak some praise there. Uh, but Caleb Williams, it seems like I don't know. We're seeing a lot of the same things that we saw in his rookie season. A lot of missed throws, overthrows. But what's your take so far in regards to like the state of the NFC North? And then we got the Detroit Lions that bounce back. They're 1-1, looking to step into 2-1 against the Ravens on Monday night. Yep.
There's there's no example 100% fair to there. They need some Detroit. They actually, I think they got off the rough, and they had to do what they had to do, so they got they're the Bears. Man, the defense is really scares me. It really is. That Michael Parsons trade is the so good. And if that offense continues to go along, they might make a deep run. I think it might make a deep run there.
Yeah, they're looking like a scary team, if especially if health stays with the Packers. I mean, I know that they've been banged up. I know uh their running back was Marshawn Lloyd. He's out on the IR. They're kind of leaning a little bit more on Brooks to back up Josh Jacobs. The wide receivers. You also I think Reed is out as well for the Packers. So we'll see in regards to the Matthew Golden, seeing if he's able to kind of break through and kind of step up, especially knowing that the Packers are looking for pass catchers. I think Dontavius Wicks, he looked pretty good early on, and he's contributing in production and just giving Jordan Love options down the field. But yeah, the Packers look very strong so far. Like I know Green Bay is really excited about Michael Parsons, but they should be equally excited about what Jordan Love is doing on the offensive side of the ball. Just being able to finish drives. I think that's the biggest thing. I don't know. There was some injury that did come out on Thursday, though, after practice. Tucker Kraft, I believe they said that he had a knee ailment.
Uh, yeah, I'm not sure if he's a fix with that, maybe it's got something to do with that. For one of the things, but I'm not 100%.
Gotcha. So he may be a game time decision in that case. Okay. Okay. Either way, never fear, right? Never fear.
Oh, yeah.
Luke Musgrave is here, right?
Yeah, that's what it was a like eye opener, like, oh, this is not the same. This is not the same one.
No, no, absolutely not. You you're seeing that they have that dominance, and they neutralized that Washington running game. Like we were expecting to see a little bit more of Ja'Cory uh Brisket Merritt, like do a little bit more Bill. We didn't see Bill do that much. We saw Jeremy McNichols after that torn Achilles of Austin Eckler. Um, I don't know. I feel like overall this Packer defense is on a historic clip right now. Like they are doing some special things, and knowing that all they have to do is just not turn the ball over, and they have a really good chance to stay in every single game because
Oh,
the defense is going to neutralize a lot of what the offense is trying to do against the Packers. And most Sundays, uh, you're gonna have at least a margin of like a touchdown where they're going to keep you in the game. But again, the Packers 2-0, they probably look like one of the stronger teams in the NFL. Obviously, the Philadelphia Eagles are still a thing. The tush push, we could talk about that. I mean, that's been a talker. Like they warned the Eagles. I don't know. This is weird coming from like the league officials. They warned the Eagles about a false start that they didn't call. So the officials missed a false start call that could have swung the game because it was 20-17 the final score. So it was a one possession game, and it seemed like on the tush push, some of the offensive linemen for the Philadelphia Eagles were kind of getting a head start or getting that momentum push before the actual like snap. So that's a false start, and we'll see. The tush push might be just on a 1 year deal here because it could be gone after the season. But let's reel it back in. We got a couple of early games here. Atlanta, Carolina. What's your thoughts on that game?
I think Atlanta has a team play like a couple ages.
Okay. I mean, Atlanta just released Young Ho Koo. Um, so it'll be Parker Romo as their new John Parker Roma as their new kicker. He's supplanted Young Ho Koo after Young Ho Koo had a tough week one where he missed a field goal that was going to send it into overtime. And that's kind of tough because Atlanta was like thinking like, hey, we're gonna tie it. We're gonna at least play overtime football at home. Your kicker misses a makeable field goal, and you could almost see the writing on the wall after they deactivated him for week two. That was never a good sign, especially if it's like, hey, we're just gonna have you sit this game out, and we're gonna see if this kicker just does better. And worst case scenario for Young Hoku, it was literally a field goal kicking clinic. Like he makes
Yeah,
all his field goals, he's clutch, and all extra points. Like at that point, you're out the door. Like that, 6 years that he was the kicker for the Falcons. The Falcons have a new kicker. Carolina is looking to find their stride with Bryce Young. I think this might be an upset. I'm picking Carolina in this game. I might be wrong, but I feel like Carolina is going to actually piece it together here. I mean they will be home. I know that in Arizona they made it a game late, but just a terrible start by Bryce Young and the offense. They just look really bad, but it was like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of situation in the second half. They were putting up points, they were making it a game, and it was a sack at the very end that um, extinguished the Carolina Panthers comeback against the Arizona Cardinals. But I got Carolina in that game. That's a divisional battle. I think they're always going to be a close game. Um, we talk about Green Bay, Cleveland. We're both in agreement. Green Bay is probably going to win that game. They're going to go 3-0. Houston, Jacksonville. Houston is 0-2, but they probably look like one of the best 0-2 teams out there.
that
I mean, they lost to the Rams and the Buccaneers. Those are two tough teams in the NFC. Two playoff teams.
yeah. I mean, they're two tough teams. They both have a good match. You're playing against tough teams, and it's it's what can I say? It's a great. You're playing against a good team. You're playing against good teams. You know you're good, and the leaders are being paid. You're not losing the bad teams, so you can just continue to do it. And at the end of the day, you got to win these games out. This is a must-win game now for them.
Absolutely.
You can't have to get two teams to beat you, and then continue on.
Right. And especially the way that Monday night kind of like went down to the wire. You give up that, go ahead score to the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield, Bucky Irving, Rashad White. They were able to march down. and score that go-ahead touchdown. And D'Amico Ryan's looking like, hey, what do we got to do to win a game? They're sitting there 0-2. They're going to be hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. Or excuse me, they're actually going to go on the road, so they'll be in Jacksonville. Duval and Liam Cohen's going to go for um, his second win at home. They won their first game, but Jacksonville lost to the Cincinnati Bengals last week on the road. So Jacksonville will be hosting Houston in their first of two battles. These two teams do not like each other. And what I'm expecting is going to be a very physical game. You're going to see both teams talking trash to each other because they know that this is the first of two battles of the two teams. Um, yeah, Houston has to win this game if they really want to stay serious in regards to winning the division. You got to win these divisional games. You and I'm crowning them as probably one of the best 0-2 teams that are out there right now. I mean, other than the Chiefs, obviously. The Chiefs are probably a little bit higher because you lost to the champs and you lost to the Chargers, and the Chargers look really good right now. I would put Houston right after the Chiefs. Chiefs probably the number one 0-2
Okay.
team. Yeah, 100% on that. Um, but yeah, I got Houston breaking through and winning this game. This is going to be one of those gut check games for CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, Nick Chubb, who is stepping in really nicely for Joe Mixon. But when is Joe Mixon coming back? I mean, like we haven't been getting any updates from the Houston officials, and that's a little concerning. I don't know if it's like a career ender. I'd rather know sooner than later to look. If I'm a Houston Texans fan, tell me right now. Like, don't hold me out hope. Like, oh yeah, Joe Mixon's gonna return by Thanksgiving. You know, he'll be around week 12. You know, he'll be out for 2 weeks or 2 months. But right now, Houston needs a running game, and their offensive line looks awful. Um, but Jacksonville, we'll see if Trevor Lawrence is able to continue, you know, putting up points because I think that's the biggest thing for Jacksonville is get that momentum going so their defense can play downhill against this offensive line. Um, but keys to the game, I think Houston they just got to put up points with Nico Collins and finish drives. I feel like that's been one thing with Houston so far is not being able to finish drives that has come back to haunt them in both games. Moving on, we did talk about Cincinnati, Minnesota. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but I want to talk about Pittsburgh and New England real quick. These are like the early games that are going on here.
Yeah.
Both teams are 1-1. Aaron Rodgers, Drake May, Mike Tomlin, Mike Vrabel. What do you think? This is going to be an old school AFC battle.
Good one. I think it's I think here because the burglar, they have the veterans, they have the good thing. I mean, it could
It-
work.
it's going to be a Gillette.
It's going to be like, I think Ryan has it again.
Okay. Yeah, I would have to go. This is going to be a tough one. Well, I'm going Drake May. I'm going Drake May and the Patriots this one. I just feel like yeah, like it's a pick 'em game. Like I had Pittsburgh, they let me down in my survival pool. They lost to the Seahawks. Like I was expecting for sure Steelers were gonna be riding high after the momentum of a week one win against the Jets, but then they laid an egg against the Seahawks. Uh, I feel like Pittsburgh drops this game. Um, I'm going with Mike Vrabel, Drake May. I feel like they get the running game going here because Justin Fields. I feel like with Pittsburgh, you got to be able to run the ball, and I think that's one thing that Seattle did really well last week is be able to run the ball with Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. I think that continues with the rushing attack with Henderson and Stevenson. So yeah, I'm going Patriots. I think it's going to be a close game though, probably similar to the battle that we saw in Miami where the Patriots and Miami it was like 33-27 I think the final score. I think it's going to be similar. I think it's going to be um maybe a little bit lower scoring. It might be like a 23-20 kind of ball game. But I'm going Patriots in that one. This one, I think should have been flexed out into potentially a Sunday night game. Uh, Rams, Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field. So this will be the rematch of that divisional round playoff game. The snow that was a snow game as well.
Be a tough one. It's gonna be a. It's gonna be. It's it's gonna be a fun one. I can't pick one.
Okay, we got Matthew Stafford, Jalen Hurts. I'm probably siding on the Eagles just because it's home. Um, I feel like the Eagles are able to control the line of scrimmage. Yeah, I mean, Rams do look good. And don't get me wrong, this would probably be similar to that playoff game where it'll probably be a one possession game. So definitely tune into this game. This will be one of those games of the week. Again, kind of surprised that they left this as a like a noon kickoff. All right, so that gets us to the next game. We got the Jets and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers might be wearing the creamsicles for this game.
Ooh,
Yeah, so we got Justin Fields and Baker. Oh, no Justin Fields. It'll be Tyrod Taylor. Because Justin Fields will be missing week 3 due to injury, but it'll be Tyrod Taylor versus Baker Mayfield. And I think this is a full circle because um back when Baker Mayfield was with the Browns, he got Todd Bowles fired when he beat the Jets. And then now it's Tyrod Taylor with the Jets. And I think he was oh yeah, Tyrod Taylor replaced Baker Mayfield and then they beat the Jets. And then they got Todd Bowles let go. Now Todd Bowles in his second coaching stint with the Buccaneers matched up now with Baker Mayfield going against Tyrod Taylor. So it just shows like how the NFL is like it just has a lot of these circles in regards to like, hey, a lot of player movement, but it's interesting to kind of just see how the coaches and the quarterbacks change and also the situations do change very quickly. Um, Real quick, situations have changed real quick. Daniel Jones a year ago with the New York Giants, a lot of people are saying like, "Hey, this guy, he's a bust. Like he's gonna be a backup." Now he's starting for the Indianapolis Colts. They go into Tennessee 2-0. Tennessee is so desperate for a win. They gotta get a win. Um, it's a divisional game. Cam Ward, they've been so close. I know week 1, they kind of fell apart towards the end against Denver. Um, last week, again, same story. Titans weren't able to make enough plays to win the game. They're 0-2, but they get another opportunity this week against um, the Indianapolis Colts. What's your thoughts on Daniel Jones so far?
I think very good. And at the end of the day, it's gonna be a fun one. I think I don't know I can't tell. I haven't even watched the movie. I can't. I can only by the shot what's said, but how is it? The offensive line, I can't tell. I'm not watching the game.
Right. I mean, like the Titans, they were not able to limit what the Rams do best in regards to being able to, uh, air it out a little bit. It'll be interesting to see what Daniel Jones can do against this Titans defense. Titans are known for having like at least a decent defense. I mean, they got Hooker back there. They got a good defensive pass rush. Uh, they're a solid defensive team. So I'm kind of surprised they're not at least a little bit closer in regards to some of these games. But we'll see how Cam Ward opens up his second home game. I know he had his home debut ruined by Matthew Stafford and the LA Rams and Devontae Adams and Sean McVay. So we'll see part 2 for Cam Ward. Again, Tennessee they've just been awful. I mean, they're on an 8-game losing streak from going from last year. Like, so they're definitely in desperate need for a win. I think they're under the most pressure to win a game and at least solidify what all the confidence that they have in Cam Ward. All right, last early game on the schedule here. We get the Las Vegas Raiders against the Washington Commanders, but there's no JD5. We get Super Mario and Marcus Mariota. And now he'll be going up against Geno Smith. Geno Double Bird Smith. So, so okay, so we get this is gonna be an interesting matchup. This is gonna be in oh, this is gonna be at FedEx Field or it's gonna be in Landover. We'll see. Without JD5, now they're gonna have to rely a little bit more on the running game. Like I was expecting Kingsbury to kind of you know go with the rookie. I feel like they saw what they really needed to see in the preseason. I'm kind of puzzled. Like it's a head scratcher. Like you're only gonna rush it 4 times with Bill, and nothing else was working. Your receivers were dropping balls, and like you were just had rhythm, no rhythm against the Packers. I hope Clinsbury opens his eyes and actually hands the ball off and doesn't really put the game too much on his quarterback because I think that's what got in a sense, I'm sorry, JD5 got injured because they were asking so much from him. Like they're asking him to like be a superhero. He's not a superhero. Like you got to play within the game, and I feel like they were not playing within the game. And obviously, they got behind early, so the game script kind of went back into got to pass because we're down. But again, you gave up so quickly on the rushing attack. That's one thing that I hope is not a trend with Washington because I feel like it will be a long season if they rely so much on that offensive line because they were they were not protecting Jay Daniels behind that offensive line against the Packers. We'll see how he does against Max Crosby and the Las Vegas Raiders. They'll be looking to go 2-1. Washington, same thing, trying to go 2-1. This is a pickup game. You got Geno Smith going against Marcus Mariota. I'm leaning a little bit closer towards the Commanders for the fact that I like the Commanders' defense a lot better than the Raiders' defense.
Yeah. Oh,
And the turnovers by Geno Smith. He threw 3 interceptions on Monday. Like
man,
too many. Like I don't know what Pete Carroll. I mean, Pete Carroll was trying to at least be like, "Hey, we're still in the game, Geno. Like let's finish a drive." They only ended up with 9 points, so 3 field goals are not going to cut it, and
right.
not against a really good team like the Chargers. Um, and I feel like the Raiders, uh, they haven't matured on that offensive level where I feel like they're not finishing drives. And again, this could be the battle of the 2 rookies. And I hope that we get a little bit more of Ashton Genty more. We got to see him establish a little bit more of a rushing attack. I feel like that's just going to open everything up. But again, Pete Carroll is a tough guy to convince to run the ball, even from second and goal from the one. And I know that's haunting some Seahawks fans right now, but like with what you have with Ashton Genty is a special rookie, and we just definitely want to see him unleashed. But yeah, with Las Vegas and Washington, pick 'em game, but I'm going Washington. Moving on to the afternoon games, not to belabor any more on that game. Denver Chargers. This potentially could be a playoff matchup.
Ooh, okay, okay.
Denver versus LA. We got the LA Chargers hosting the Denver Broncos. So we'll be at SoFi Stadium. Bo Nix, Justin Herbert. Herbo versus SEAL Team Nix.
Cool. That'd be a fun one.
Yes, it should be a fun game. Uh, you got 2 rookie running backs as well. You got RJ Harvey for the Denver Broncos and Omarion Hampton. Omarion Hampton had some fumble issues on Monday night. We'll see if he's able to clean that up. Um, But yeah, this should be a great AFC West classic collision. Um, yeah, I'm taking Chargers. Chargers look really good with Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnson. Yeah, they look really good. Justin Herbert has definitely come into his own. Um, potentially early talks of MVP, potentially. Taking down the Chiefs already, the boogeyman that the Chiefs are in regards to the AFC West. And you win again. I mean, they open both of their games against AFC West. Now this is their third AFC West game. So Chargers off to a hot start, but they're doing this against their division. So I feel like it's equally more impressive. You're doing this against teams that know you more than any other teams in the league. All right. Sean Payton, you got any takes on Bo Nix? How did Bo Nix look like? I mean, they lost a heartbreaker to the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah,
And that work nowadays. I don't want any. Yeah, and he looks good. Like it's kind of tell.
for sure. No, absolutely. Um, with Denver, they look like they're going to be a playoff team though. Like they look like they have the makings of a playoff team. Feels like Troy Franklin and Bo Nix are getting a little bit more of that chemistry. They both went to Oregon together, so no surprise there that he's going to be targeting his college teammate a little bit more. And just seeing J.K. Dobbins is going to be a nice revenge game. Former Charger going back and playing the Chargers. Um, yeah, that should be a good game between those two. But I'm leaning Chargers. The Chargers look really good. Um, Saints, Seahawks, Sam Darnold.
100%.
Yeah, gotta go Seahawks. Sam Darnold going up against Spencer Rattler. Got to give it to Seahawks. I feel like Seahawks are going to be in the rain too. I think forecast is some rain out there in Seattle. Um, we may see another beast quake if Kenneth Walker breaks one off, or because it seems like Zach Charbonnet is doubtful for this game, so we might get a heavy load of Kenneth Walker. Um, but not to belabor this game, we're going Seahawks. We're moving on. The Saints are on the tank schedule. They're on 0-2. They're probably going to go 0-3. And they're probably looking for a quarterback next year. So sorry, Saints fans. This is going to be a long season. Dallas, Chicago. Chicago just trying to stay relevant. They're 0-2, lost a heartbreaker to Minnesota week one. Giving up an 11-point lead going to the fourth quarter, losing 27-24. Last week, you lose 52-21. You look pathetic. Ben Johnson, you were the belle of the ball, the cream of the crop. Like everybody wanted you, but so far you haven't netted any results. You go up against the Dallas Cowboys. Um, you go up against Brian Schottenheimer, who's actually looked halfway decent as their head coach. He's gotten them to believe. He's gotten them to buy into the program. Dak has probably looked as best as like he's looked in a couple of years. And I know that others were talking about how he looked in regards to after his surgery, like pre-surgery, post-surgery, it looks like he's rejuvenated. He's just looking a lot more live in regards to like the game action, looking faster, making quicker decisions, making faster throws. So I got Dallas, but in a close game. But
Dallas is gonna win.
yeah, I think Dallas is gonna win it. Like I feel like CD Lamb is gonna make a couple plays. We're gonna see uh Javonte Williams run really well. Maybe Miles Sanders. Um, I just don't see Chicago putting together four quarters against Dallas to win this game. Even though it's home, I'm going Dallas to go 2-1, a sneaky 2-1. That one loss where if CD Lamb just comes up with a couple of those plays, you might be talking about a 3-0 Dallas team with the win this week. Yeah. But yeah, Chicago's still searching for answers, but they might have a star in Rome Odunze. He did score twice. He's arguably Caleb's favorite target. We'll see if Caleb is able to continue to evolve. We'll see if Chicago is able to defend home field. Uh, but yeah, I got Dallas. Moving on to the NFC West battle here between Arizona and the San Francisco 49ers. Both teams are 2-0. The only team that has a loss is the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC West. Arguably one of the best divisions in football right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're both it's a good division. I hopefully pretty sure okay come back. It's not Mark Jones. I heard he had a good game, so
Return of the Mac.
good one. Yeah, I think
Gotcha.
the 49ers are gonna win by a touchdown.
49ers by a touchdown. Okay. I I'm going it is in San Francisco. That's tough. I'm going with I'm going with Arizona. I feel like this is a sneaky game, but I feel like Kyler Murray is able to eke one out here on the road. I really like what they've done so far in regards to just getting everybody involved. In keeping things simple, I feel like Kyler Murray um, is able to do things best when you just kind of simplify it. And just
Yeah,
make sure that he makes the right reads and also just avoiding those turnovers. Mac Jones, we've seen this like with the Patriots. We've seen him with the Jaguars. He looks really good in his first game out. After you get like a little bit of game film on Mac Jones, I feel like they do figure him out a little bit more. That's what I'm expecting. And the Arizona Cardinals are not the New Orleans Saints. So that's where I'm going there in regards to I feel like Arizona just been playing tougher teams. But again, the record is what it is. They're both 2-0. 49ers are banged up. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I got the 49ers defense. I'm hoping that they do create some turnovers, but I just feel like Kyler Murray is just gonna sneak one out. It might be like 20-19, one of those close battles. But yeah, I got Arizona in that game. That brings us to the battle of the 0 and 2s. Someone's O has to go. The Chiefs and Giants on Sunday Night Football. So we got Russell Wilson going up against Patrick Mahomes. I know Russell Wilson had a short leash, especially going after that pitiful loss against the Washington Commanders, where the Giants' offense looks constipated. And then they had that huge explosion against the Dallas Cowboys, but they were not able to finish that game. Where they allowed Dallas to march down and tie the game, and then eventually went on to lose in overtime when Russell Wilson was throwing one of those, those famous moon balls, and that gets intercepted by Dallas in overtime, which was the reason that Dallas was able to, outlast the Giants in that game. But I expect Malik Neighbors to have another monster game against this Chiefs secondary. So I expect the scoring to continue, but I don't know about the defense. I don't know if the defense is able to keep Patrick Mahomes, subdued for 4 quarters. And I know the Chiefs are hungry for a win, especially after the first two coming down literally to one possession games, or where a defensive stop was going to give the Chiefs a chance to at least tie or go ahead in both games. You lose the home opener in Sao Paulo, Brazil to the Chargers with Justin Herbert running, scrambling, and sliding. For the Week 1 victory. And then last week at home at Arrowhead, you get beat by the same team that left you, um, really soul searching in regards to losing the Super Bowl and just getting whooped. I know it was 40-6 at one point in the Super Bowl. It was the final score is 40-22, but in regards to having a beatdown and then coming so close in regards to at least getting some redemption. Obviously, Super Bowl is done, but like seeing if you can try to beat the team that beat you last in the biggest game. I think the Chiefs are desperate for a win. It's a gotta have a game against the Giants. I'm going Chiefs, and I know the Chiefs are halfway through that suspension for Rashee Rice, but you can't wait until Rashee Rice gets back. You can't wait until Xavier Worthy gets back to start winning these games because the Chargers are 2-0. You got the Broncos right there at 1-1. Even Las Vegas is 1-1. So quickly, the AFC West race could get out of hand for the Chiefs if they don't start getting some victories here. Um,
Because
yeah. And then that brings us to the final game of the week. The Monday night matchup between Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions taking on excuse me, John Harbaugh and the Baltimore Ravens. Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson, your thoughts? What's going to happen in this game?
hopefully the shootout's gonna be a great game and it'll be a high scoring one.
I would agree. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. It's going to be a track meet between the Ravens and Lions. You got Jamar Gibbs. You got Lamar Jackson. Both electric playmakers. You got Jameson Williams. You got Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews. You got Laporta. So you got offense. You got defense. But I feel like offense is going to definitely be on display here. It's going to be a track meet. We'll see how many points are put up. I got Ravens just because they're going to be at home. It's just going to be a juiced up M&T Bank Stadium. But yeah, otherwise, I am definitely all in on Detroit just being one of those tough outs in regards to the NFC just playoff picture because they're just letting you know, like, hey, the Packers are really good, but the Bears are really bad. That's what we learned from the Detroit Lions in their first 2 weeks. Um, all right, but let's bring it back to the Vikings. Um,
It sounds like I just don't have time today, but so long. Sorry, but I gotta get stuff done for work.
okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, we can cut that. In regards to yeah, we can wrap here. Yeah, like overall playoffs coming up for the playoffs for the MLB. New boxing champ, Bud Crawford. Yeah, really excited for what's coming up. We'll see how that all shapes up. But we do appreciate you jumping on here, Jim, for the 94 podcast. We'll just wrap up here in regards to I know you got to get going. You're on a tight schedule, so definitely want to respect that. But yeah, we do appreciate you jumping on and just breaking down these games with me. But until next time, we'll see you at the TOP. We're out.
Uh, so yeah, man,
See
sorry.
ya. No, you're good.